Welcome, everyone, to this brand new episode of Cast It to the King. It's been so long, and I'm so excited to get back here with you guys. It's been a wild month and a half. I'm your host, Joshua Mickle, and just first things first, for me to be able to do this on the side, it's always a blessing to do when I have time to do it, and then also just to be able to share my thoughts on things that are going on around us, and also entertainment-wise, and then on the sports side with the Titans, or even on the Grizzlies side. It just depends on the availability because of my primary occupation, and I'm thankful to be able to do this on the side. And I apologize if I am not able to do this full-fledged, full stop per se, as much as some of my viewers want me to do it. It's just a matter of, do I have time to do it? And finally, I have a moment to do it after so long. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our first topic of the day, and that is this. And just to give a layout of the land is that of this show, we'll talk about entertainment stuff. We'll talk about sports sometimes. We have a primary show I'm going to try to get back to with the Titan Upcast. Really downer of a year for my Titans, apparently. And then we're not shy to talk about other trending things that have happened in the world or news related or something like that. But this next one should probably bring a smile to your face when you hear about this right here. So apparently, a while ago, and when I was putting the show originally, this is one of the trending things. Now it's not anymore. But maybe just to refresh your memory, is that there was a case going on in Detroit, and you had like the witnesses, and then you had the officer swearing in. And apparently, there are some courts in Detroit that allow you to do this still. But lo and behold, this interesting story comes out where apparently the officer in question is going viral, and the judge's response to him is just as comical. And just to lay this out, like, so they have the things like the case is being laid out, they're being sworn in, and then the guy, and you see on the thumbnail, you see on the lower third of him raising his hand, like swearing in. He is, yes, you see that correctly. The officer is not wearing any pants whatsoever. And the picture here with the judge is like, "You got some pants on, officer?" Officer's like, "No, sir. No, sir." So the picture you see right here to the left is him adjusting his angle on the camera. But just a funny note right there. It's just a friendly reminder to always be dressed and prepared for court. I mean, just a few days ago, or was it yesterday? I can't. Man, it's been a while, and I just woke up actually. Sometime previously this week, I went to Memphis 201 Poplar for a traffic ticket that I got 2 months ago. Traveled 10 over, but I wanted to see if I could get tested in court and see if I could get thrown out or apply for traffic school, just as long as I don't get the point tacked on to my insurance and my record. So I come there suited and booted, tie, nice black jeans, nice black shoes. I'm rolling up in there, and I look like pretty much every other attorney there, apparently. I look like all the other attorneys there. And so I get to the court. The deputy sheriff is there. He looks over my ticket, and he says, you went 10 over. Yeah, slow down. You're dismissed. Just like that. I didn't even get through that initial doorway to get into the actual courtroom. So just a friendly reminder to, whenever it comes to court, dress your best. Always dress your best. I remember the first time I ever went to court for anything. It was 2016. My car at the time could not hold a front license plate. There were no holes, no allocation for per the Virginia requirement. You had to have 2 license plate, a front and a back. I did not have a front one, and this car was essentially like a Tennessee car almost, where you just have the rear one, you don't have a front one. So I get pulled over at the ocean front in Virginia Beach, and the officer said, "You know it's the law for you to have a front license plate too." I'm like, "I know, I have it. It's right here. I can't put it on. I can't put it on." And so he gave me a ticket. He said, I just basically went to court, and I had the picture of the plate on, and I was dismissed. But I remember like the first time I'm rolling up in there, I'm in gym shorts, I'm in a t-shirt, and I'm wearing sandals. And the judge is like, "Do you not know the dress code here, sir?" I'm like, "No, it's my first time here ever in any court, Your Honor." Honorable judge. And so that was out of the way. That got tossed out as well. But yes, just a friendly reminder to always dress your best. And for those that are Tennessee listeners, and I mentioned this to my parents who had just moved here, and they now have officially Tennessee license plates. I had to run this by them because they didn't know. So here's a little public service announcement, free of charge for anyone in Tennessee watching this video. It is against state law to have anything on your license plate obstructing the tag of like your registration tag, like the month and year on it, and covering up the county name at the bottom of your plate. And there's a little barcode now on the new license plates on the bottom right. Anything obstructing those 3, like are like cool license plate holders, like you have a T name, U.S. Navy, dad, mom, or something else of that ilk. It is illegal to cover any of those 3 up. So if you get pulled over for, say, for like a busted taillight or anything else with speeding, they will look for that and try to tack that on. Not a lot of people get pulled over for it, but it is against the law of the state of Tennessee to obstruct the viewing of those 3 components of your license plate. So just thought I put that out there and that you guys know. And with that, we're going to get into this next topic, and that's this. So there's something brewing inside this household on this show. For years on my social media, and years covering now multiple years doing the show, multiple episodes, I've said the following: I am through with Disney live action remakes, post a Lilo and Stitch one, and the latest Lion King Mufasa one. Everything else, I'm done. Except for a few, and we will get to that in a second. But this one is not one of those few. The film Moana came out no less than 10 years ago. And Disney announced this years ago. I didn't believe it. Now it is actually true. The first official trailer has been revealed and dropped online. We do have a live action Moana movie for a film being remade that is no less than 10 years old. It is less than 10 years old. And there is a comment I saw online that I quite agree with. It said the rule should be for Disney, you should not be able to remake this movie until it reaches drinking age. So essentially what that means, until a film reaches 21 years old, you cannot remake the movie. Do not remake the movie. And so, I mean, this is Moana, a live action Moana. What are we doing here? This film is no less than 10 years old. It is 9 years old. And we had the sequel to it last year. We had Moana 2 last year. And this is not just me. as I pull it up right here. Sure, like, oh, it's one of the highest viewed trailers of all time. Well, you can probably say that per se. Where's the number? There it is. Oh, shoot. Nope, don't do that. You can probably see right there. Trending in movies. Okay, yeah. But then if you look at the little fine print over here on Disney's official channel, look at the like and dislike ratio. That is not good. That's not good at all. 41,000 likes to over 105 dislikes. The audience, the fans have spoken out loud. They do not approve of this remake. I mean, this film will probably make some money, but it will not make the money that Disney is banking on this thing to make. Let's just keep it real. And we've seen this with Snow White. We've seen this with a whole bunch of other films that they've tried to roll out. Because in one breath they say after Snow White, we're pausing on our live action movies. Then Lilo and Stitch rolls around and they say, we're back into production with Moana still coming out. We're going to try to get back onto that Tangled remake, which, by the way, is not drinking age. That movie came out in 2010. We are in 2025 right now, approaching 2026. That's got at least another 5, 6, 7 years left before you can remake that, according to the rule. This is just the poster child for Disney as to they have run out of ideas. They have run out of ideas. And the films that they try to make, like a Lightyear, like an Elio, I mean, both are Pixar films, like even those type of films, and then just look at Disney's catalog coming up. We got Toy Story 5. We got Devil Wears Prada 2. We just had Freakier Friday. We're getting Zootopia 2, which I'm excited about. We're getting Frozen 3 and 4. Science Story, those top 3 stars for with Josh Gad and then the actresses for Anna and Elsa are each getting $60 million between Frozen 3 and 4. Just between those 3 actors. Each are getting $30 million per film for Frozen 3 and 4. That's a side story as to how ridiculous that is, in my opinion. For voice acting, you're in a booth for maybe a few days, and you're going to get paid that much money. Moana, this is the poster child. Disney has run out of ideas. They can't stop going back to the well. And here's my solution to this. And one of the subjects on the show is it's just proof in the pudding as to Disney, like egg on their face, like, yeah, they're not doing well with this sort of thing. They are not doing any favors with this. And there are many, many options. If you can't help yourself, Disney, Bob Iger, whoever in charge over there are so many other properties you can touch, you can remake that won't get you this type of backlash that Moana is receiving online. And I'm just going to list off a few right here. Treasure Planet, classic. Tarzan, classic. Atlantis, The Lost Empire, classic. Pocahontas, anybody? Classic. They Nasty Aristocats. I'm not that bigly sold on that, but I guess that's coming in the future. But that's an option. Now let's dive into the television realm that they could probably make the jump into live action movie. American Dragon, Jake Long. Kim Possible. Those are 2 TV properties you can make the jump for franchise potential into live action franchise building. And I extend that to Warner Brothers with Ben 10. I extend that to Paramount with Danny Phantom. For those 2 properties you can make into live action remakes. And those last few I just mentioned was actually a editorial I made almost 10 years ago, and I think still holds true to today with the analysis on it. And one of them we actually did get a remake of The Last Airbender, now being faithful and true on Netflix with that TV show, live action. There are many options for Disney to dip their toes into the well again. There are many options. Why do they keep have to going back to the well? Particularly this particular franchise, which is really soon. This puts the reboot between Tobey and Andrew's Spider-Man and Andrew's and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the timetable between one iteration to the next iteration remake, like Child's Play. We are getting no less than 2 years. By the time this remake comes out, it would have been less than 2 years since we have gotten one thing of Moana and a different thing of Moana. The farthest we got for Spider-Man, like the shortest we've gotten for Spider-Man, was May of 2014 when we got the last Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then when he was rebooted as in the MCU in Civil War 2 years later. From May 2014 to May 2016. So that's the shortest amount. I mean, that was the shortest amount for a particular character. But in terms of Disney needs to get their head out of their rear ends right now. They just enough. And between Disney proper and Lucasfilm, they got they're in a pickle. I don't know why, but they are in a pickle. Disney, the company known for great original IP, great original stories, have ran their course apparently. They have sucked the well dry. They can't put together good original films that can latch onto the audience like they should. And they keep going back to the well over and over and over and over again. And now it is getting to the point that audiences, as you can see with this ratio here, they've had enough. They have had enough. If Disney's banking on Dwayne Johnson to take this film as a big block, it's like, oh, look at him in Fast and Furious. Oh, look at him in Jumanji. Dwayne Johnson is not the big box office draw like he is, and it is a myth. Look at Black Adam. One of the sole reasons why why DC got rebooted in the first place. Look at his latest offering on film, said to be one of his best acting performances in The Punching Machine, I believe the film's called, with Emily Blunt. Christopher Nolan gave his high praises on the film when he saw it. The film flopped. It flopped at the box office heavily and mightily. That film did not make the studio any lick of money. And to think he can stroll up in here for Disney and say, hey, I can make you money. Oh, really? What are your last few offerings besides the big franchises that you're usually associated with proven? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so I'm not rooting for this to fail, but part of me wants it to fail because that's the only way you're going to that's the only way this is going to be communicated over to Disney as to what the audience is feeling. Because in one breath, Snow White lost them so much money and it hurt their coffers to where they had to come out and say, hey, we're taking a pause on making live action movies. Remakes. We're going to take a pause on that and focus on original stuff. Then no less than 2 months later, Lilo and Stitch comes out, and that makes over $1 billion, and then they're back on their high horse and be like, we can make whatever we want. This film just made $1 billion. It would have made more if he didn't stray away from the source material. That's just me. That's just me for Lilo and Stitch. And with that, that rant's out of the way, and the next topic here is this, and this one is really fun, and this highlights a bright spot in Disney, actually, with their streak over at 20th Century Studios. Predator Badlands. What a time at the theaters. From the marketing, from the trailers, from the posters, and then finally seeing the movie. You had the director of Prey returning to this franchise. This is his follow-up to Prey, and this has hit theaters. This is the highest opening weekend Predator film in franchise history, and deservedly so. And don't let the rating of PG-13 fool you. This film is very, very, very violent. Violent and awesome action on full bloody display. And the only reason it's PG-13, there are no humans. There are 0 humans. That's how they got away with it. And there's no cursing in this film whatsoever. Can you believe that? You heard that correctly. There is 0 cursing in this movie. 0. No F-bombs, which gets you the R rating if you get more than 2. No simple cuss words in a PG-13 movie that you would hear normally. None of that. This is your first ever film with the Yautja, as if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is the predator species behind me. You finally have a Predator film for the first time ever in its long franchise history, dating back from the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, and then the Danny Glover, and even the Alien vs. Predator ones. This is the first film ever where the Yautja are the main character, where the Yautja are the main protagonists of the film. And it is awesome. It is awesome. From the opening scene, like the opening lines. And it's been a while since I've seen the movie, since this is a late recording. But like, there's something that pops up on screen before the film actually starts. It says Yautja is Yautja is prey to none. Yautja is friend to none. Yautja is predator to all. Like, those 3 lines came in order, and then screen went black. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Yes. And then the score. Oh my God. The score in this movie is one of the best, self-aware cinematic scores I've ever heard. Like, the score, if something bad were to happen to Hans Zimmer for Dune 3, for composing that movie, if something bad were to happen to him and he had to be replaced by someone else, the composers for this movie fit easily. You take a blindfold for just the first opening sequence, 10 minutes of this film. First 10 minutes of film, just listen to it. Blindfolded. This sounds like it would fit in a Dune movie. And the setting, the atmosphere, the planets, the hunting, the music, the score, everything about it. Check every single box on the list. And this film is surprisingly funny in a good sense. This film has, and I thought when they first introduced elements of it, I'm like, is this going to take me out of this movie? Is this that's the film, the film's comedic moments. I can see people say, "Oh, why does every film have to have Marvel humor? Why does every film have to have Marvel humor?" If this is quote Marvel humor in this film, it works. It works. It just works. And this film, you think it goes a particular way, and this is great filmmaking right here. This is a great script at play here. Disney, take notes. You think a film's going a particular way, and then the curveball comes in where you're like, where are we going? I thought, what's happening right now? You're interested. You want to see what happens next. And there is a revelation at the end where you're like, oh my goodness. Yes. Like, wow. Like, like I'm smiling like from start to finish of this film. I'm smiling, grinning ear to ear. That's how awesome this movie is. And this film does have like a post-credit moment per se after the last title card is revealed. And it is probably one of the funniest lines in the movie. And this doesn't give the plot away, I don't think. So I'll say this right here. So when I do this, you can unmute the computer for when I give out the spoiler. So when I do this, you can unmute the computer. But for right now, go ahead and mute right now for this last line. So at the end of the movie, Dek, who this Yacha is, the main protagonist that we follow, confronts his father, who had just killed his brother at the beginning of the film. Pretty much, Dek is the outcast of his tribe. He is the runt of the tribe. He comes back with his trophy. And then kills off his dad's 2 henchmen, and then kills his dad, takes the cloaking device. His dad is killed. And then the title card rolls. And you're like, oh, good movie. And then they come back to the characters like in a post-credit scene type of vibe. And so it switches back to them. You see the ship coming in from the sunset. And then you see the android girl in this movie, and his lackey, now part of his new tribe. She asks him, "Are these friends of yours?" He's like, "No, that's my mother." Oh my goodness. Mama ain't happy. Mama is not happy at all. She is really ticked. She must be really ticked just to hear that, oh, daddy just got axed, essentially, by the runt of the family. And that leaves a slew of possibilities for narrative-wise going forward. Do we finally get to see a female Yacha? We have never seen one before in live-action media. There have been concepts in comics and all sorts of things, but we have never seen one officially on screen. Do we finally get to see a female Yacha? Not the biggest priority on my bucket list for the sequel. Not the biggest of priorities. But it is fun and curious to think about. And one thing I will mention, and that's this. If someone were to come up to me after seeing this movie and say, is it time? Do we have, oh, by the way, yeah, spoilers are over. The spoilers are over. And if someone were to ask me, do you think they can do an Alien versus Predator right now? Can they do an AVP movie and redeem the previous 2 movies? After seeing what they have done with the Alien franchise and seeing what they're doing with the Predator franchise, 20th Century Studios, formerly Fox, 20th Century Studios, and the head honchos there that have been entrusted with the powers that be, they are 5 of 5. Alien Romulus was an awesome movie. Alien Earth, by all accounts, I haven't seen the show yet, is awesome. Prey, awesome. The Predator, I think it's called Killer of Killers on Disney Plus. Awesome. Predator Badlands. Awesome. 5 for 5. They have knocked it out of the park. Their batting average is 100%. Should they get into Alien versus Predator? I think we're ready for it. I think we're ready for it. And the director of Predator and the director for Alien, for these recent incarnations, have flirted with the idea of co-directing an Alien versus Predator movie, so they can feel off their vibe of one knows how to handle Alien, one knows how to handle the Yautja. Just the back and forth that would be amazing to watch if they can make that a reality. The first 2 AVP movies were set in modern day when they were released. This has to be in the future. This has to be set in the very, very distant future, like the same time frame that we see Predator Badlands in, the same time that we see Alien Romulus, like 21 something, whatever the year is. We have Weyland Yutani as like the Shield, as the Monarch sort of organization in the background of this franchise. Let that be the through line, and it was the through line in Predator, where you saw Weyland Yutani Easter egg and all sorts of in their organization peppered all over the film. And yeah, we're ready for it. I think the audience has spoken. The audience approves. The critics approve. We are ready. If they announce tomorrow that they are going to do an Alien versus Predator movie, I think we're ready. We are ready to see it happen. This Hollywood wants to have crossovers with whatever they can these days, apparently. And why not? Why not? We've seen them 5 for 5. What makes, this should not be any different. All right. With that down, we're going to get into, rating for this film. I got 2 rating systems for my 2 movie reviews. 3 movie reviews, and that's this. For the particular movie review, and that's this right here. Don't bother with the popcorn. Get a small, get a really nice medium, or break out the large. You break out the large popcorn bucket for Predator. Absolutely you do. Abso-freaking-lutely. You break out that large. Abso-freaking-lutely. And there's also one more system that I want to touch on here, and that's this. I think we're going to dub this the spiritual safe-o-meter. I don't have a graphic for it yet, but essentially, there are 2 people in my life, I won't say who, that they don't ridicule me, they don't beat me up for it, but just like a constant reminder of is what you're watching good for your soul? Is what you're watching, would Jesus watch this movie with you? Is this film suitable for the pseudo Christians out there that really care that much and really take into effect that much as to fictional things that are not real, where some things are just like blockbuster fun times of the movie. Predator is definitely safe on this meter. It is definitely safe on this meter. And even if this was rated R for, if you had human subjects from the Weyland Yutani Corporation in the final act getting chopped to death and amputated all over the place like the robots were, but it was R because it was humans, this would still qualify as safe. This would still qualify on the safe side of the spiritual safe-o-meter for Predator Badlands. This film does not go against anything any particular way. This film, outside of the spiritual element of it, this is not woke. This is not any of that stuff. It's just a fun tribalism, alien, sci-fi, action movie. what's a good comparison? If essentially, if Hunger Games, like the element of Hunger Games, where they're always in the jungle and they're trying to fend off the elements around them and fighting for their lives, that is essentially this movie right here. You have Deck trying to find his prize, and he is just laying creatures out, laying dudes out, all over the place, just laying them out for survival. And to that, this is safe on the safety meter. The spiritual safety meter for Predator Badlands, it's safe. Now, this next film, probably not so safe. And that's this. The Running Man has officially, as I try to clear up this message here. All right. Pardon me. This is the beauty of trying to record in real time. Is try and figure out who the heck and what. All right. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. All right. The Running Man. Apparently a remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but said to be the most faithful adaptation of the Stephen King novel. We are in the year 2025. The novel was written with this story taking place in 2025. Funny coincidence right there. This film, directed by Edgar Wright, written by Edgar Wright, I believe. You got Glenn Powell in the lead role. And by the way, I have to say this. Like the game show host, the black guy with the mustache, missed opportunity to not have Steve Harvey in that role. I would have casted Steve Harvey for that role. I don't care if that's too on the nose with Family Feud of him being a game show host. I don't care if that's too on the nose. That would have been perfect casting for me, for Steve Harvey to be in this movie instead of the actor who they got in there for this movie. But I digress. First half of this movie, positives out of the way. Let's get this out of the way. The first half of this movie, wall to wall, it leaves you at the edge of your feet, at the edge of your seat. There, like the action, the anxiety-ness about it, trying to figure out, like, oh my God, are they actually going to get, oh, there he goes. Like, sort of like reacting with him. And then the radar parts of this movie with the action, warranted and wonderful to see. The body count and all that stuff, like folks getting toast and like pulverized in this movie. Wonderful to see that. The performances were good. Josh Brolin turned in a really good performance as this shady CEO of this company, of the game shows. How they actually make the selections for the game shows threw me off. And I don't know if this is in the book. Maybe it is. Is that you don't get to choose which game show you're on. Because we see in this movie, this character that Glenn Powell plays, that he was just trying to get on the some of the simple shows to win some money for his family. And then when he gets to his locker, he turns over the jumpsuit and it says The Running Man on the back of it. And you're like, oh, snap. Oh, shoot. Holy Moses. You're screwed. And there. Okay, my phone keeps getting lit up. Okay. Just like exhilarating action, all of it. The negatives of this movie. There's a point where they get to Maine, and after they get to this particular house, the film just goes downhill, spiraling somehow. From what started out as like a great premise, like a Hunger Games type of feel, where it's like last man standing, last one standing. Can you last long enough to win the to outdo the system per se? Can you last long enough? And it was going that way until it gets a particular point at the middle of the movie. And this is where it went downhill. Not bad, but narratively, it just went like, where are we going with this? What are we doing here? And then a new character gets introduced. She's a bit on the weird angle of things. There's a heavy play on AI in this movie. And like there is like, and you see it in the post-credit scene. I mean not post-credit. You see it during the whole end credit sequences where it's like graffiti of like messaging and stuff, which some people can interpret to mean something in today's society for messaging. And the first half of the movie, it was on the nose about it, enough to where it's like you can interpret it a particular way, and then some people can interpret it a different way, but it would be a mystery. Like it would be back and forth of like, I'm right, no, I'm right, but it's not definitive. But once you get to the halfway point, and as you get to the end of the movie, this film does what every bad film that has political messaging in it, it bangs you over the head with it. It just bangs you over the head with it to where you're like, okay, we get it. Like they hit you in the head over the first time. It's like, oh, okay, you're going this way with the movie. Okay, let's get back to the movie. And then they keep banging you over the head. You're like, okay. We heard you the first time. Okay, we get it. Stop it. We've heard you. We heard you the first time. To the point where it gets annoying. To the point where it gets really annoying. And unfortunately, like the way the film ends, ultimately, I have no problem with it. It's how we got there that's the problem. And it actually deviates away from the original content, which, if that's the case, I'm actually all down for, because the ending to this film was actually really good. And is this film worth watching? Once, probably. I don't know if I'll see this film again. I don't think I'll see this film if it's out on VOD or if it's on one of the streaming channels on YouTube TV. I don't think I'll watch it again. And just to get the rating system out of the way, for The Running Man 2025, I would say get the small popcorn. Get the small popcorn. You're gonna the action's gonna be entertaining enough for you. And for the spiritual safety meter, this film is not safe on this meter, because the messaging in this film can be interpreted in a particular way that alienates one particular side of belief, and it challenges to most cores of what the messaging of this film is, what some may try to interpret as them projecting onto society today. It's not a good message if that was their intent of trying to show hey, the worst of X, Y, and Z, that is essentially true in today's society, which I think is just blatantly false. But to the parallels as to what this film was written back in the 80s or 70s of what 2025 would look like, to where we are today in actual 2025, to where to where this film actually shows us, it's not too far fetched for some elements. It's not too far fetched. It's just the controversial ones that makes this spiritually unsafe, in my opinion. And with that, we got a few. These next three are full of spiritual elements, I guess, and that's this right here. Y'all remember Larry the Cucumber? Y'all remember Larryboy? Big Idea Productions? Those VHS tapes when you were a kid as a Christian? Apparently, Universal Studios is releasing a movie of Larryboy next year in 2026. If you can believe that. If you can believe a particular outlet, like a particular Christian outlet, and I think this is the same outlet that first reported, and I didn't believe it, that first reported that the Passion of the Christ sequels were going to be split into two films, and this was before the major trades picked it up on it. But they got that right, and they're saying that this film apparently was first reported back last year, apparently. In 2024, that this film was getting made. And the last we've heard about this film are two things. Is that you got the original voice actor for Larry. He has not been contacted or signed on for it yet. Which, let's get one thing out of the way. For animated films, it only takes you a few days to record your voice. This is not a live action movie where you're needed months and months and months on sets. The animators make the movie, they render out the characters, and then you get the voice actors in there. That is 95% of the process of animation filmmaking in Hollywood. And I remember way back in 2004 where they were showing a cool behind-the-scenes thing on Disney Channel with The Incredibles, where they had a Disney Channel savant like host go behind the scenes of The Incredibles in the sound booth. They render a brand new character for someone that was already in the movie. They render a brand new character. That's him. But they put the skin over the skeleton that's rendered. And so so he goes in to record his voice in the studio. Over at least 50 takes he had to do in order to line up right. Now we've gotten better with our animation to where where some of it's no longer an issue now going forward. So that's one thing we last heard about that, is that the original voice actor for Larry has not signed on for it yet. I would not be surprised if he isn't, or if he is. If he isn't, they are going to honor, he's going to have some Easter egg role on the side somewhere where he's like a side character, like a passerby per se, and hey, that guy, that character, that's the original voice of Larry. That's the original voice of Larryboy. Or he is the original voice of Larry, but they haven't brought him in for recording yet. The other thing that was brought out, and this was apparently apparent on, it's apparently found on a channel called the Unofficial VeggieTales Podcast. I don't know why you have a title like that. Someone who claims to be working behind the scenes with Larryboy is saying that Universal and DreamWorks and Big Idea, DreamWorks and Universal are the big head honchos behind the scenes making this film possible. And because Big Idea went bankrupt and Universal grabbed them and they just own their IP and stuff, and they can use it wherever they feel best. That the studios are flirting with ways with AI to help with their animation. Now, for the purists out there that will say, no, do not make this an AI movie. You're taking away from the animators making the movie. I think, just re-listening to these comments is that I interpreted these comments as, we have AI. It's here. It's not going away. Larryboy is going to be so low in budget that we will make money, hopefully, easily at the box office, and it won't cost us a pretty penny to try to break even. Let's use Larryboy, Universal DreamWorks doing this. Let's use Larryboy as a testing ground as to what AI can do to polish off some animation, to polish off some scenes, to polish off some elements of the animation. To that I say, why not? Go for it. Why not? And for those like that are big VeggieTale fans like I grew up with as a child, the fact you're even getting a movie called Larryboy, if this is true, called Larryboy, being put up by one of the big head honcho studios in Hollywood, the fact you're even getting something, there should be zero complaining, I think. Now, the complaining comes in is if they deviate so far from the original, story content of, making this, so anti-Christian, so not pro-Christian messaging when this IP is clearly about, a through line of, a Christian story or Christian meaning behind it. So, I can't wait, and if anyone's wondering what's my favorite silly songs with Larry, it is still the Water Buffalo song. I could just sing that right now, word for word, between him and I think his name is Alf. I think his name, funny enough, is Alfred. Funny enough. Yeah, I could literally sing word for word that song. It's like the Water Buffalo song. Everybody's got a water buffalo. Ooh. Stop singing, there's a water buffalo. Not everyone has a water buffalo. We're going to get millions of phone calls saying, where's my water buffalo? Why don't I have a water buffalo? I don't think you want to be dealing with those sad people. Well, I don't think so. So stop being so silly. Everybody's got a baby kangaroo. Oh my goodness, yes. That brings up so many memories from my childhood. And could we get Larryboy actually in a movie theater? An actual movie being made? That'd be something. That really would be something. All right, next topic we have is this. The Russo Brothers have found their next project after Avengers Doomsday and after Avengers Secret Wars. And that's this right here. A film called Ordained is based off a comic that has not been released yet, apparently. Colin Farrell plays this priest, and the elevator pitch is this. You have a mobster is about to be sentenced to death. He confesses all of his sins, all the operations to this priest who Colin Farrell is going to be playing. The guy that's confessing says the order's carried out, he's executed per his judgment. The mob bosses find out that he spilled the beans on all of them, and so they send out hitmen and assassins to go after this this preacher. This Father Colin, we'll call him that. Father Troy. I think Troy is the character's name. Father Troy. But little do they know that this priest used to be a John Wick style hitman. Special ops type of guy. John Wick type of style guy. Little do they know that he used to be that. And so they're after the mobsters and their goons are after him so they can kill him and so no one else knows secrets anymore. But since he is now that he has been ordained, he still now apparently follows one of the most important commandments that he holds true to his heart. Thou shalt not kill. And so he has to take out these goons without killing them. So how? And you got the John Wick writer coming on to write the script. Conveniently enough. How much can you push the envelope with this movie? I think this is going to be rated R. This has to be R, in my opinion. If this is PG-13, this is going to be so pushing the boundaries of that rating, in my opinion. This film sounds like a really, really fun idea. This sounds like a really, really fun idea. And I'm all for it. All for it whatsoever. Let's have this movie. This film looks like... Again, Disney, take notes. Original films. Original films, Disney. Take notes. This sound like, besides John Wick, besides Nobody, I mean, like those two films, and maybe to an extent Olympus Has Fallen, like we have not heard of this type of film. That I can think of. And I like this, like the sounds of it, it's so like salivating as to what this could look like. Is he not going to curse? He's not going to kill. How brutal are his takedowns going to be? And if John Wick is any indication, sign me up for that. Yes, absolutely. And Colin Farrell doing the role. And the Russo brothers with their attentive eye for action. I think it's a perfect match. And with that being said, we're going to get into this next topic. And we're trying to spitball on these real quick. And that's this right here. David from Angel Studios, a film crowdfunded dating back to 2021 when the demo was first released in October of 2021. This is by far, on record, the highest budgeted crowd-funded film in history. This film made off the backs of folks like you and me. Poured in whatever money we could. I mean, I didn't, but I mean, you get the analogy here. The everyday person poured whatever money they could into the coffers of Angels Guild, like the Angel Guild coffers, to make this film possible. And the animators behind this film having great history and work with some of the Disney and DreamWorks classics out there, now coming together to make this film. This film just released their official trailer, their second trailer. They released a teaser. They released now the official trailer. This film is in full swing marketing. This film is taking the cues from John Wick and Spider-Man No Way Home. Those films, John Wick had a 1-month marketing window before the film came out. There was nothing on the first John Wick movie until a month before the film came out. Spider-Man No Way Home, there was zilch marketing until late September. The film came out in December. This film, we got our first look in October, 2 months out from the movie. And we are finally getting this movie. And the marketing is full steam ahead. And this film will be releasing against SpongeBob. Yes, SpongeBob's still getting in their movie. Against Avatar, Fire and Ash. And I said on the last show, and I still stand by this, I think this is going to be great. Give and take, push and pull. Great demographics for this movie to be releasing the same time as Avatar, because you can have the high-end action movie and then the little palate cleanser is that kids film that you can take your kids to before or after with David. For some folks that'll be SpongeBob. For some folks it's gonna be David. I mean the last trailer was really good. Like the last trailer they just put out, really really good. We finally get some more sequences shown on the videos, and you had the adult voice for David, who's a Christian artist. I was hesitant about him being the voice of David, but everything I've been seeing lately, it's quelching my worries a bit. It's really quelching my worries. And so, definitely looking forward to this movie. This movie, actually, at one of my theaters in Memphis, it's going to get an early release a week before. I'll be sure to get one of those showings myself. And, yeah, let's go guns a-blazing. Angel Studios is like, you cannot get on Facebook or Instagram without seeing an ad for this movie. Angel Studios is pouring whatever they can into this movie, marketing-wise. This film's marketing has to be on edge with their production budget, which means, yeah, you got to double the film's production budget, at least, in order for this film to break even. And then at like 20, 30 million on top of that, I mean, when they do break even for the accounted cost for the movie theaters that they take in. This film, it has all the makings to be really good. Will the audiences flock to it? I know I will. I know some people will in my circles. We'll see. It's got the right people behind it. It's got the animators behind it. You see in this new trailer elements and tones that harken back to the classic films that Disney used to make back in the 90s and early 2000s. And even the early 2010s for some. And same with DreamWorks and Pixar have come together to make this film. In a similar fashion, how the Prince of Egypt got made. Prince of Egypt was originally an idea being floated around for Disney. Disney refused, but the idea was too great. They didn't want to let it sit on a shelf and collect dust and not get made at all. With the help of Steven Spielberg and two others, they were able to launch this company called DreamWorks. And Prince of Egypt was their flagship film. And look where they are today. David is the flagship movie for Angel Studios. And if this film does what they think it's going to do really well at the box office, they're going to be set up really well. The Sound of Freedom, which they poached off of Disney, making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars off of their little payout that they're now reaping the rewards for, has set up the budgets for all these other films that they have done for the studio for themselves. Now comes David. This film is going to be this is like the make or break type of film for Angel Studios. They're not going to go away if it does bad. They're going to go bankrupt if this film goes bad. This film is crowdfunded. So any money that this film has made is extra money in the coffers for Angel Studios as far as that's concerned. But if this film does really well, let's say it makes $300 million, $400 million, everybody there at Angel Studios and Slingshot and 2552, I believe, is the other. No, it's 2521 is the other. It's Sunrise and 2521 are the co-production folks that made the movie alongside with Angel Studios. If it makes that money, they're popping champagne bottles. They're probably, depending on how this film ends, if it's open-ended, they'll probably make a sequel to it maybe. Or, better yet, you have the Bible. Grab another story in the Bible that you can make and show to the audiences another fresh take of an idea. If this film makes $300-400 million, expect more from Angel Studios for their offerings and potentially more in the animation realm with David and possibly other characters going forward. And CinemaCon, I believe last year at CinemaCon, the Angel Studio CEO said, "Oh, David's going to be one of the highest grossing animated films of all time." The time he said that, I think it was before Inside Out 2 came out. And Inside Out 2 made $1.6-1.7 billion. And that's a tall task. Inside Out 2 was the highest grossing animated film of all time. It got trounced by this next film we're going to review. And this film I have never heard about, never shown on my radar until I was just doing a simple David search of like, hey, this guy like put out there like from Angel Studios, this is going to be one of the highest grossing films. So I was like, okay, let's run down the list of like top animated films. I'm expecting Inside Out to be number one. No, it's not number one. I'm like, what? But this year, what film was that? This film called Ne Zha 2. Chinese-based film, a China film, animated, crushing at the box office, apparently. It has made a crap load of money. It is not only number one for animated films of all time, it is now top 5 for total films of all time at the box office. And yes, I did not say that. I did not stutter there. Deadline, you can read on Deadline. And per their estimates, is that this film has made over $2 billion and 2 billion reasons we're going to be talking about this film right now. Ne Zha 2, or Ne Zha 2, however you pronounce it. This movie, I rented it last night, watched it. This film is amazing. This film is next level spectacular. And just to get out of the way, do you need to watch the first one? No, you don't. You don't need to watch the first one to understand this movie, apparently. And just to get the box office thing out of the way, over 96% of the box office intake is from China themselves. How is that possible, you may ask? A lot of factors come into play. One, they have 10,000 screens. In North America, we have 4,000 screens. Two, they have a higher population compared to North America. Three, China has been blocking out a whole bunch of films to where this is like the only they have been building up for years their own catalog of films that they could like make money themselves and profit on and show to their audience. And then if anyone outside the country wants to watch it, that's just extra money coming into their coffers. Next point is this. This film supposedly, after doing research on this is a culture, this is a culture war type of film for China, apparently. And this film, it took so many twists and turns I was not expecting. I was not expecting this at all. Let's start with the animation. The animation in this film is next level. I don't know if there's a level above 100%. It goes through that roof. That's how spectacular the animation is in this movie. It is probably some of the best animation I've ever seen on film. Probably some of the best. it rivals the Spider-Verse animation. It rivals some of the best Disney animation out there. Story. Like, a little bit of the, like, some of the story elements, like some of the China stuff that's privy to me that I've been exposed to are stuff like Mulan, Kung Fu Panda. For video games, it's like the Dynasty Warrior stuff. Shout out to my cousin who got me hooked onto those games when I was a kid. And some China lore that I studied up in history class for world geography. Like for world history. Like the story elements are, I would like true to Chinese lore, and you don't get lost in this movie. There are some points in this movie where you're like it makes you pause for a minute. Like, is this going a particular way? And then you think it's going to go a particular way. And then, just when you think it's going to go a particular way, the film says, oh no, you think this film's going a particular way. It's actually going this way. I mean, I don't want to spoil this movie. It's out on, you can rent it on Amazon. You can rent it right now. Yeah. You can rent it right now. It is PG-13. Would this be suitable for kids to watch? It's only PG-13, I think, to the extent that there's blood. But I don't remember any cuss words in this movie whatsoever. And some of the themes, and there's like one thing with like peeing and whatnot, but it's like it doesn't reach into R-rated territory. Some of the dialogue may be a bit too much for maybe some kids per se. Like, like if someone were to ask me, it's like, hey Josh, for like if I had a classroom full of like young kids that just watched Inside Out 2, and they said, hey, can we watch Ne Zha 2 for the kids to watch on TV while their parents are in service? I'd be like, oh no, no. No. Even though it's PG-13, I would not let my kids, I would not let those type of kids watch that movie. But is this, just to get out of the way, is this spiritually safe on the spiritual safe meter? I would say it leans safe. This film leans safe. This film is about family. This film is about dedication. This film is about brotherhood, love, and fighting for someone to live. It doesn't get, there's no political, there's no American political messaging in this movie. If there is China political messaging in it, I don't know what it is. I'm not purview to what their politics are lately. Besides China being ruled by a communist party right now for a long while. But this film is really good. This film, quite the surprise. And A24 distributed this film domestically in other places worldwide for the English dub, and that's what I watched last night. It is it's really good. Like, this is yet another surprise for me. I have never heard of this movie, but by chance. And so I just want, let's just get the rating system out of the way. If this was in theaters, see this film in IMAX. First of all, see this in Adobe Cinema or in IMAX. And get that large popcorn. You will be thoroughly entertained like you wouldn't believe. This film is very entertaining to watch. And now that we got that out of the way, we got to talk about this right here, though. The conversation, there's no debate anymore. And even if David is a great film, I would still peg it as number 3 behind these 2 films right here. K-pop Demon Hunters and Ne Zha 2, top 2 animated films of the year. It's not even close. Story, animation, all of it. It's not even close. And Disney, to wrap this back around to Disney, with their remakes of their diving back into the wells of their IP, Disney needs to take note. You can still, in today's world, make great original stories out there. You can still do all 3. You can still hook an audience in to see a movie. You can still hook them in. And these 2 films are proof. It'd be one thing to say, oh, K-pop Demon Hunters, what an outlier of a movie. It was on Netflix. How reputable is Netflix these days, right? Right? No, it's the same folks that made Spider-Verse, for those that want to not look at facts right now. Then they actually put it in theaters based on popular demand. It was number 1 at the box office. Me and a friend saw it in theaters after we saw it on Netflix. You would have thought it was Avengers Endgame crowds. That's how packed the theater was, and that's how interactive the crowd was with the movie. And I imagine, if there was no domestic release of Ne Zha 2, and they got all this hype, and then they did like a K-pop Demon Hunters type of re-release in theaters domestically, it would probably get that same pop. I think both have actually made the same amount of money domestically, around $20 million a pop. Over $20 million a pop. These 2 films, again, just shining examples that you can make great original IP, great original stories. Different, and hey, these 2 films, how diverse can you get if you want to talk about diversity? China and Korea. How diverse can you get if you want to check that box in Hollywood for diversity? You cannot check those boxes enough. They check the boxes for that category. So that's not an excuse as to why you can't make original IP anymore. You can go into different cultures, different elements, different time periods, and different settings for great original movies. They're there to be had. They're there to be made. It's just a matter of capitalizing on it. China has found theirs with Ne Zha. Netflix and Sony have found theirs with K-pop Demon Hunters. Disney? Where is it for Disney? Where is it? Where is that one franchise that just sticks, that new original franchise that sticks out to you, that says they have captured the zeitgeist of the audience? They have captured the hearts and minds of kids and adults. Where's that new original one? Where is it? It's not there. And Disney needs to have a hard look in the mirror. And that is one of the reasons why Moana, the live action remake, needs to bomb hard at the box office so they can get a good kick in the butt from the audience to say, enough of this. Enough with the remakes. Enough with the tiresome sequels to some films. Give us original stories, original ideas. Now back to Moana for a second. There's no problem with them making. Here's what I thought they were going to do, but it was a long shot. Here's what they should have done. They should have Alice in Wonderland the heck out of this movie. What do I mean by that? Disney makes the original Alice in Wonderland movie, the cartoon, right? She goes down a hole and she goes through all these motions of the rabbit, the cat, Paint the Roses Red. You get the story. She wakes up. Was it a dream? Was it a dream? Did it really happen? That sort of thing. And then we get Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. And people think, oh, this is just a Disney remake, right? This is just a Disney remake. The character's Alice is a bit older, like 20-something years old maybe. So yeah, we're diving into that realm. We're diving back into we go back into Wonderland, and the characters there have dialogue specifically saying to you, "Does she not remember? She was here before. Does she not remember?" There's even a cue in the movie flashback of her as a kid walking through Wonderland, doing everything that you saw in the original animated movie, which showed you that Alice in Wonderland, the animated one, was entry number 1. Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland was the sequel to that movie. It was the loose sequel to that movie. You have Moana 1. You have Moana 2 that just came out last year. Let this live action be a loose sequel. Moana 3. Call it Moana, but it is actually a sequel to the second movie. There you go. There you go. You don't have any backlash of like, oh, it's another remake. No, you're taking that remake idea and flipping it on its head again like you did with Alice in Wonderland, Disney. And essentially showing in a trailer, wait a minute. This is capitalizing the story threads from the first 2 movies. I thought this is actually the third. This is actually the sequel to yes. Moana 3 in its live action? Sign me up. Absolutely, sign me up. But no, it looks like it's just a live action remake of the first one that's not even 10 years old by the time the film comes out. Not even 10 years old. And so these 2 films behind me, they are top 2 this year. It's not even close. And hopefully David's really good to where they can be top, to where it's these 2 that are top 2, and then David's number 3. Because I don't know between these two films who takes the cake as top dog. They're both 1A, 1B for me. They're both 1A, 1B. And with that long episode, oh no, it's only been an hour and a half. Why not? That'll do it for this show. And thank you for tuning in. And be sure to give your friend a hug and just be there for someone that may need you. And be nice to people. I'm your host, Joshua Mickle. Sign off. And as always, keep kicking it to the king.